It's already in there, the water.
Steve, we're rolling whenever you're ready.
Okay, welcome back from the coffee break.
I did have some questions that I told them to ask afterwards because they're pretty pertinent.
Okay, I wanted to introduce you to Lynn Mason.
Hi.
Lynn works for a company called Fabbri. Fabbri is an Italian company that makes gelato flavors. American companies don't really make any gelato flavors at all. So you need to go to Italy to get really good products. And as I said earlier today, the frozen desserts is all about the flavors. Lynn's company began the same year Emery Thompson did, 1905. And Mrs. Fabbri was a homemaker, and housemaker. Yeah, she built houses. She was at home, and she was very famous for her jellies and jams that she would make and give to her friends. And she would put them up into beautiful porcelain containers that had this design on them all over the porcelain container. So it was a white porcelain container with these designs, and she gave them out to her friends. And all her friends said, "This is fabulous. You ought to go into business," and she did. And so that's how Fabbri got started. Today there are more Fabbri members than there are Kennedys in the family business. In fact, when I first met Nicola Fabbri, he was a young man like me, and back then, if you wanted to get into the this is hearsay, but it's more fun to know what's going on behind the family. Back then, if you wanted to get into the Fabbri business, you had to go off to college, and then you would come back and they would make you an executive. Then it got more and more Fabbri members in the family, and now you got to go get a master's degree and come back. And then it got even worse. You can get a master's degree, but you're going to start on the assembly line, making the product, which is really wonderful. That only happens in a family business. When all my friends were out being lifeguards and doing fun stuff like that in the summer, I was in the South Bronx bending copper tubing. So that's the way I began in the family business. And so all the Fabbris, there are Fabbris behind the Fabbri name. They're over in Bologna, Italy, and I've visited the factory. It's absolutely beautiful. The flavors are, the only word you can use to describe them is exquisite. For American flavors, Fabbri is not going to sell, Cookie Monster. They're not going to sell Oreo cookies and chocolate chips with fudge. They're going to have marzipan and hazelnut and
Cassata.
Things I can't pronounce.
Fruta de Basco.
You say cassata, I say casota. Tiramisu. Hi, Sadie.
Dulce
she can
leche,
stay. Come here.
A lot of panna cotta.
So these are all wonderful flavors, and if you're doing what I call a full-service frozen dessert business, I think you should have, now Jeff of course would disagree, but Jeff's business is unique. He's only open from 6 to 10 and he doesn't like children. And he's telling the truth. I tell the truth. If you're doing a full service business, I like to have maybe 12 or so flavors of American ice cream. I like to have some Italian ice or sorbet, and I like to have some gelato because people do like gelato. Because you're not going to get hazelnut or tiramisu anywhere else. Imagine if you had there was two radio comics up in New York called Bob and Ray, and they had this hypothetical business called the International House of Toast. And it was, would you like your toast buttered on the near side or the far side? Those are your choices. Well, you can't have an ice cream parlor that's just going to sell vanilla ice cream. You want to have all the variety that you can do with this machine for most businesses. So it makes sense to consider having some gelato in the store. Even if you open up as an American ice cream parlor, it's nice to know that at some time in the future you can add this in. As a salesman, which I am, I'm chairman of the board of this company, but I am all times a salesman. A salesman loves another reason to come back to see you or have you come back to see them. So I open up people in the Italian ice business and they graduate to ice cream, but there's nothing better than a year and a half later after you've started selling ice cream to be able to say, we now feature artisan gelato. It's wonderful. It's more reason for people to come back. And a variety is good. I don't want to be Baskin-Robbins with 32 flavors. It's too confusing. But if I had 4 or 6 flavors of gelato and 12 of ice cream and 6 of Italian ice, I've really covered the market. I've got something for everybody, and I think that's wonderful. We're going to, Jeff and the three of us are going to make now some a gelato, and we don't have a recipe.
No, I do have a recipe.
Gelato is, I've had this argument with my counterpart, the chairman of the board of Capajani, because, as you know, we invented the ice cream machine, the hard ice cream machine, the mechanized machine, and he claims he did, even though his machine came along 14 years later. You know, a little trouble with the math there. But he says, well, the difference is we're gelato and you're ice cream. And I said, okay, Andrea Kaki, let's see, what's in gelato? Milk, cream, a little bit of sugar, probably some skim milk powder. That's gelato. Yeah, well, what's in ice cream? Milk, cream, a little bit of sugar, skim milk. That's ice cream. We're talking semantics here between the two products. However, you'll never see on the menu hazelnut ice cream, or more importantly, tiramisu ice cream, except in your exceptions to everything. So it's going to be, the Italian flavors are really what makes it gelato. It's a low-fat product.
8%
Today,
top.
it's usually, 8%. When it first came to America, the first place that gelato appeared in America was in San Francisco, and they ran 16%, and they made gelato. Why 16%? Because that's all they had, and that sold as gelato. We run 10% because we like to use a fresh dairy product. A pure gelateria is going to run 6 to 8%. So it's a low-fat product. It is not in any way, shape, or form less fattening, because when you reduce the fat in a product, you have to raise the sugar. You have to have a certain level of solids in order for something to freeze. So I can give you I love my own Italian ice because it's fat-free, cholesterol-free, sodium-free. It can be all natural. I mean, it sounds like the perfect food except for beer. But I don't anywhere in there say that it's dietetic, because it's not. And neither is gelato, and neither is ice cream, because it's sugar, milk, cream, skim milk, and if you reduce the fat, you raise the sugar. Otherwise, they don't freeze properly. So we are more similar than different. So we're going to come up. Well, why don't you tell a little bit about Fabbri and the different flavors, because you have several products. You have I think you call this deli paste.
Yep. I brought a few deli paste to show you. This can be used in the production of gelato, sorbet, or ice cream. They're highly concentrated. It's about 100 grams per liter of liquid. The flavors jump out. Unlike the ice cream, your fat content is lower. Your temperature is higher. So when you taste gelato, you're going to get a flavor burst. It doesn't have the coating of fat on your tongue, which you won't have much with the 10%. But if you're going to Haagen-Dazs, the other guy is 16, 18% fat, it's way different. So hopefully you'll feel that, taste that flavor burst in this. We're also we're going to do an Amarena cherry, which is the signature item that the company started with. Mrs. Fabbri, just one little thing about that, these cherries were growing everywhere, and they were inedible. And that's when she decided to cook them in the copper pots with sugar, and they became world famous. Actually employed the whole town. The men were out in the fields working the trees, and the women were in the streets sorting the cherries, which was uncommon for women to work back then, but that's how they were women's libbers right from the beginning. So we have several products. We have a vast line of deli paste, about 50 different flavors, fruit, nut, chocolates, vanillas. I brought you a little information I'll give to everybody. We do use bases. Our bases are like this. You add your liquid to the product, mix it together, add your deli paste, put it in. This is the artisan one. We also have Simple, which this you just add the liquid to. They come flavored or unflavored, but for gelato making, artisan, this is what we use. The same concept as your bag of dairy product.
What we're going to do is we're going to actually create a recipe. None of us here have done this. I mean, I've done it with other stuff, but we're actually going to make a recipe because we don't know what we're doing. Well, so tell me what this is as opposed to what this
Okay.
is.
The deli paste is the highly concentrated fruit flavoring. This is Amarena Export, and as it's coming out of the machine, once it's all in there together, we're going to stop the machine, ladle a little bit in, put another layer of the gelato, maybe do 2 layers
So
of
that's
the.
like a topping.
Yes, it's under the
And
category.
This is an ingredient.
This is your deli paste you're flavoring.
Okay.
I don't know why I lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think 2 layers of that and 3 layers of the gelato, and so when you're cutting into it, why?
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, layers. And you make
Well-
it nice. It'll be like a 7-layer cake. All right, so to start this out, really, it's going to be 2 ingredients because I haven't tasted it, but I have a feeling this is pretty sweet, right?
It has sugar in it, yes.
And intense.
And intense.
And intense.
So this is just common sense. I mean, I've never done this with this, but we'll give it a shot. I took a quart of mix, 1 quart. So we'll put a quart in there, and now all we're going to do is add enough of this to make it taste right and then multiply the ingredients. It's not rocket science.
What about any water?
What?
Any water?
We don't need water because we're using fresh dairy.
Your part's done. Just kidding.
This is, I've used this. This is really intense.
Yeah.
So in the whole
Right.
batch, you might only use half a can,
Okay.
just to give you an
We
idea.
have 1 quart. Now, what we're going to have to do is,
It's about 100 grams for a quart.
We failed that in high school, remember?
100 grams.
We don't know grams.
How many of these?
I would
so-
give it 1 to start.
All right,
I wouldn't.
Remember, done?
Pardon?
All right, we're going to take one of these and put it
remember
in here.
done.
And then we'll mix it up. Trust me, it's okay.
Okay.
This is not NASA stuff here.
But this is how you can come up with your own flavor. If you're out traveling around the
If you're at
country,
supermarket and you want to make Oreo cookie ice cream, but you want to use blonde Oreos, or you want to make it out of Thin Mints, those Girl Scout cookies, or whatever you want. Start with a quart of mix, take your product, throw it in the blender, grind it up, do whatever you have to do, add it to the mix, stir it up, and taste it. If you want it to be more flavorful, add some more. If you want it to be less bold, add some more mix. Kind of simple stuff here.
and as you do it, write it down, because I guarantee you're going to forget how much you put in. While Jeff's doing that, talking about the bag of the powder, which is basically milk, cream, sugar, skim milk, taken from the cow and spray dried and put into a bag in the powder. It's extremely convenient. We have a gentleman who's going down to Panama, and access to fresh dairy is not going to be possible. So this is going to be a very easy way to make ice cream and gelato. You can use this for both by just having the powder. Open this up, follow the directions, add water, and you'll have an excellent, excellent product. So even American ice cream parlors can use it for a lot of applications.
Okay, that'll work. So we have 1 quart with 1 of these spoonfuls. And we're going to make it in which machine?
We're going to make it in this one.
So let's say we're going to put in 8 quarts. Sound okay?
7.
Oh, man. All right, 7.
So 7 spoons. Isn't that great? I saved you all that
So
time.
we
Thank
need
you.
6 more quarts of mix and 6 more spoonfuls of this stuff. Of, what is it called?
It's the Amarena deli paste.
Deli paste. Why do you call it paste? It's not really paste.
Why do they call it deli? I don't see the dill pickle.
Ham and cheese in
You'll
there.
have to talk to Nicola.
I will.
Okay. The reason that I don't use this stuff, so this is new to me too. All right. So we'll add 6 more quarts of mix. Right. Right.
Yep.
Okay. And we have 1 in there. So we're going to add up to 7. All right, let's give it a shot. Now we'll do 6. How's that? If we go to 6, then that's adding 5.
Yeah.
So if we go to 7, that's adding 6.
Now, are you going to put your spoon in here and then put it in there?
No, I wouldn't dream of that.
Okay. I knew it, that you wouldn't do it, because if Jeff takes his spoon that has dairy on it and puts it in here, he's technically contaminated the whole jar.
Police would be here in a heartbeat.
No, they already were. If we put our spoon in here, we're contaminating it, and we put it in the refrigerator. Days from now, it would be no good. So, if you know you have to use a certain quantity of this, pour it into a separate container, and then keep this standing by. Especially if you're doing variegated ice creams. A variegated ice cream means like a butterscotch swirl, where you're swirling in butterscotch. You take the butterscotch and put it into a separate container, and then you will be dipping your spatula into that and working it like that. Always keeping your can of butterscotch, or in this case the deli paste, on hand, because if you go a little overboard on the first tub coming out, you still have the butterscotch available for the second tub. But you never want to contaminate the jar, because we're not going to use the whole jar.
Am I allowed to say something?
Oh, anything you want. You have the mic.
He told me I was done.
That's just Jeff. We'll be right with you.
Our products also, you were saying you would put it in the refrigerator. All of our products are shelf stable, all natural, Star K kosher, gluten free. So,
Even after you open it?
even after you open it, it's 18 months shelf life, sir.
Oh, great.
It does not have to be refrigerated.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, on cost-wise, what is one of those bags of the dairy product run?
Mix right now is at an all-time high. And the beauty of the dairy product is, if you go into the supermarket right now, cream has never been higher in 40 years. It breaks my heart, because you know where it's all going? We're selling it to the Chinese. It's been a big scandal in our industry. So right now it's expensive. I'd say it's about $9 a gallon for dairy blend. And for each gallon, you can get up to 2 gallons of ice cream. So that means your cost for a gallon of ice cream would be $4 plus flavoring. Now, you have to be careful there, because you might be flavoring for 75 cents if it's vanilla and $2.50 if it's maple walnut. But you're going to sell 10 times more vanilla than you are maple walnut. If you always want a simple way to figure out pricing without doing the math and doing any of the hassles or anything like that, find out what the retail people are selling. Haagen-Dazs and Breyers, what are they selling to an end user for? Their normal markup in the industry is a pretty solid 33%. So if you make your own products, you can save 33%. Or if you want to know what their cost is, take the $30 and remove a third. What?
Move that way.
Okay, right here?
That's what that means.
Now I'm in the way of the machine.
I'm putting it in there.
All right.
Come over here, Steve.
So you can, a lot, so
Work, is it? No.
I'll do it. I'll do it for you. You watch.
Okay.
I only have one eye that works, so I've become
That's a
pretty.
pretty excuse, huh?
It's a great excuse, isn't it? I've become very good at this.
You got a gift.
Steve's right too about this machine. If you use the Italian ones, it does have the
Quarter, okay.
the grates on it, so you can't put like we have a fig variegate. If you put that in there, it clogs it up. So this machine is an excellent
I can't see over there.
machine, because it doesn't have that grate, and it can make anything. One machine makes all.
Okay, that's fine.
A little more?
Yeah, I just want to stir it up, get all the goods out of it.
Okay.
Looks like yogurt.
It does.
How much was that, the extract cost?
It's not extract.
It's not extract, it's
Yeah, it has to go through a distributor. And everything is different. Pistachios real high. Something like strawberries less expensive.
What would this cost?
It depends on who's selling it. You know, we sell to. I mean, I've worked it out by the ounce price. I can tell you that most of the deli pastes are under 50 cents an ounce.
Really?
Yeah.
You asked about an extract. That's an extract. That's Lockheed Vanilla, one of my favorites. There's Nielsen Massey and Lockheed. If you go to my website, There's a whole list of key suppliers that I list. And I don't know if I'm on camera. I don't use anything here or tell you about anything because it's benefiting me. I firmly believe you cannot serve two masters. You can't be selling ice cream machines and getting a kickback from Fabbri. So I don't take any money from anyone. I use products because they are the best you can use in your ice cream, and I want you to be successful. The other way of looking at it, hold your ears, I'm going to say that guy's name, Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh says the purpose of the callers in is to make the host look good. And I'm of the same school that if I show you how to make a great gelato with great products and you sell well, you're going to say, oh, Steve Thompson turned us on to Fabbri, and it really is a spectacular product. There's another company that competes with Fabbri, and they are just, it's like dealing with General Foods. They're big and they're massive, and they don't have any personal touch. Fabbri has wonderful personal touch. They have just great people working for them, and that's why I recommend it. Because you're not going to find these flavors anywhere else. They don't exist with American companies. Ready to turn it on?
Yeah, tell them what it's spinning at.
Okay, we've got this set for gelato, which is 140 RPMs. That's about as low as you want to go. I can adjust it even lower if I want. I have a manual control on top of the preset. So that's on. Turn on the refrigeration. Yes.
Does the speed equate to a percentage of overrun? Is there a way of calculating the percentage of overrun that you get?
The question is, there is a way to calculate the speed to the actual overrun coming out. Yes, eventually, but you'll have to do it with your own mix because all mixes vary. If you've got a real pure mix, it's going to take on less air than something that's got mono and diglycerides in it or polysorbate 80. Some of these things just make the mix glow in the dark, and I don't want to use them. So there are variations, but my numbers are based on my years, my 12 years of my own invention, that this is a pretty good number. But just like I was using, in this batch, I would have used 3 ounces of vanilla. Jeff would be using an ounce per quart or more vanilla. It comes down to personal taste. And you write it down on a 3x5 file card and you stick to it. Back in the days when I could leave the factory and go out and demonstrate machines, I would tell the owner and the employee, I would say in front of the owner, employee, if you break this machine, if you drop a spoon, if you drop that plastic spoon in it, or worse, a metal one, or if you freeze it up because you were talking to your girlfriend on the phone, go tell the boss. Boss, you're not going to fire the employee. Okay? We all agreed. You're not going to fire the employee. It's just a mistake. And if you broke the machine or you think you broke it, no problem. You call Emery Thompson. We'll get you up and running in a minute. However, here's my 3x5 file card. This is how I make my Amaretto gelato. I want you to follow this recipe. You say, can I borrow that card? I promise to give it back. You've got your recipe on a card. You tell the employee you follow this to the letter. And I tell the employee when I was doing demonstrations, this is what the boss wants. I don't care if you think the boss is a jerk and doesn't know how to make the flavor. This is what he wants. This is what his customers expect. And if you deviate from this, we're going to come in and we're going to break your kneecaps. Then we're going to drag you out into the street and have you run over by a truck. Because we need consistency from year in and year out. When we go up to Cape Cod to visit Four Seas Ice Cream, I love their mint chip. I dream about it. I remember what it was like. And if Paula and I go up in late August, I want the same mint chip that we had 3 years ago. No changes whatsoever, unless the boss changes the formula. So that is really critical. Now, with that said, a lot of people are buying the small machine, which does everything the bigger one does, same material, same designs, same 45-year life, but it's under $10,000. So it's very affordable. You might have to run this for 3 hours every other day. You may have to run this for 16 hours a day, making 6 quarts at a time. But it gets you into business. So if you are running 16 hours a day and your wife is finally saying, please come home, everything's forgiven, and you want to take a day off,
Forgiven.
what would be wrong with handing this card over to an off-duty policeman or an off-duty fireman, or as I have in my factory, almost everyone here is military except me, handing it to someone who has training in following direction and getting the job done. You could have a police officer come in at 2 in the morning. All police officers have second jobs. Paul, his father, was an NYPD. He had a second job. Fireman, I was a volunteer fireman in a lot of companies. Everybody had second jobs. Someone comes into your business at 2 in the morning, follows your recipe, and when you come in at 10, all your ice cream's made. It frees you up to do other things. Go to restaurants and try to sell your ice cream. Try to plan new flavors. So, and they're not going to copy your recipes. I know you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but you got most of the recipe off my website, and then you modified it to yourself, or you got it from Jeff's book. Have we told you about Jeff's book? We got to do that. So don't be afraid someone's going to steal your ideas. They're not. But it's a wonderful source of labor to have people who are in a position of responsibility come in and help you out making the ice cream. Now, Jeff is running a lone one-man show, and it's perfect. He makes all the ice cream himself. He's got the time to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. Jeff is not going to open up 50 stores in the next 2 years. Jeff doesn't want 50 stores in the next 2 years. So his model is perfectly fine. If your model is to grow and expand the business, get some help. You don't have to do everything yourself. That's the hardest thing about being an entrepreneur. I know I'm getting off subject a little bit. I used to come, when our factory was in the Bronx, I showed up at 7:30. I unlocked the 15 locks to get the building open, 40,000 square feet. I emptied the trash cans, and I thought, gee, I'm really important. I got to be here first. And I was the last one to leave. Well, one day it was pointed out to me, they invented this thing called a computer, Steve. And if you would stay home till 8 in the morning, you could be on the phone to Saudi Arabia, you could be on the phone to Malaysia, you could be doing more business around the world, which is a better use of your time than emptying the trash cans. Emptying the trash cans is important, but it's also important to grow the business. So you're going to have to, at some point in time, learn how to delegate authority. That's my speech. Oh, no, we got a ways.
That being said,
Yeah, and here it comes. What is this, point, counterpoint?
yeah, well, that being said, look, the truth is, he makes a great machine. I make ice cream. He owns a factory. I own an ice cream store. So there's a reality gap there, a chasm, as it were, between our philosophies. And the reason I make the ice cream is twofold. One, the identity of the store is my creation, and I make sweet, very flavorful ice cream. Not many people would.
You have to speak up.
The sound of the machine that.
Why is the machine getting louder?
Because
It's solidifying, and there's not that much product in there.
yeah, we need more product in there. We should have made a bigger batch, so it's freezing some against the walls.
It'll be fine.
So I just countered it by taking the speed up by 5 RPMs. Yeah, it's normal. Yeah.
That's
Just
why
a
you
small
make
batch for
different
this
size
machine.
batches. Bring up the speed, and the heater turns faster, so it doesn't have, the ice cream doesn't get a chance to clump.
Or put more mix in. Make a bigger batch. Yes.
Just so you know, this is technically Lynn's segment, so I can't really hear what Jeff is saying.
Oh, then I'll
Do you
stand
want the
by.
mic? Do you want the
You think
microphone
we
back?
could afford 3 mics here?
Would you want this one?
Sure.
back?
All right, we'll give Jeff the mic.
No, it's okay, you can have it.
Okay, I guess I have it.
Listen to Lynn.
Thank you.
I got a question.
Yes.
Other machines that do have that grate on the front, does that serve any purpose?
Oh, yeah, the guard. This one has the same guard, and the beauty. Can you zoom in here? This guard, the way we've designed it, instead of bars which block it and slow the product coming out, this guard is all the way out from the machine, so everything's going to flow out very fast. We have the same guard for this machine. They're required by National Sanitation Foundation. You know, they don't want you to stand in front of a speeding bus, and they don't want you to put your hand in the machine. So when you get this machine, there is an outside guard here that does not restrict the flow of the product.
That, wait a minute, that has cream on it.
What?
Oh, well.
What?
It
She
has
said the spoon had cream on it.
Yeah, see?
Oh, well.
Oh, well. We're just using it the one time.
We'll drink it all up today.
Any other questions right now? Also, the slower you run the machine, the longer the freezing time. Higher speeds, shorter freezing time. It's pretty simple.
I think we're there.
Okay.
You said a little firmer in Gelato?
That looks pretty good. Now, since we're going to, if you can stand a little to the side.
I'm going to throw it in?
No, Lynn, you want to do it?
I can, here, I'll do this part, you do that part, okay? Here, okay. So we're
I have to
gonna,
move the tray.
yep, all right.
Steve will move the tray. It's a three-man deal.
To
Okay.
make gelato. Ready?
I'll do this. Steve
All
will
right.
move the tray, and she'll add the
All right, here we go. This is very exciting. That's enough, Jeff.
Okay. This is part of our marblings, variegates. And this is, again, Amarena export.
Okay. Want to just give me a little over there, Jeff? Or you don't have a spoon? Ah, that's enough. Thanks. Isn't that pretty? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little more.
And more.
Okay. I'm glad I
This is like,
brought this.
you know, how many people does it take to change a light? How many New Yorkers does it take to change a light bulb?
New Yorkers are Polish people.
All right. Isn't that pretty?
That's there.
You have a nice looking product there.
There you go.
Isn't that pretty?
Sammy, come here, girl.